Hey there, Internet travelers. I am the Redcap, and today we're going to answer the question, can an all 99 quarterback carry the worst team in Madden? More specifically, can they win a Super Bowl? Let's find out. Our story begins not with our quarterback, but with the 52 lifeless corpses that occupy space on the team. Which team would that be? The Jacksonville Jaguars. The Jaguars are the worst team in Madden! First off, how dare you? Second, the worst team is actually the Houston Texans. However, they're not nearly bad enough for this experiment. I'm fairly certain the greatest quarterback the world has ever seen could turn around any NFL franchise. But these aren't your dad's Jaguars. These Jaguars were forged in the fires of hell. Actually, before 2022, they finished last place in their division 4 years in a row, so these might just be a slightly worse version of your dad's Jaguars. This team has the worst players in the game at every position with one exception. Tight ends. The worst players at this position are actually long snappers in real life. EA has decided to make them tight ends instead of creating a long snapper position or designation because that would require adding something new and different to the game, and change is scary. This brings us to the star of the show. The man, the myth, the legend, number one in your programs and number one in your hearts, our quarterback, Huge O'Daddy. He was born to play football. I don't mean that metaphorically. He literally doesn't exist, and I created him solely for the purpose of this video. To quote the great Scott Steiner, Huge O'Daddy is a genetic freak and he is not normal. At any given point during a game, he will be the most athletically gifted person on the field. Combine that with a supercomputer for a brain and you have an unstoppable force. Well, there is one thing that could slow him down, the deadweight that I've forced him to play with. Can he do it alone? Let's roll the first game highlights and get a glimpse into the future. One side note before we start. I turned off injuries and fatigue so they wouldn't affect the gameplay. I also turned the speed threshold all the way down to give Hugh a better shot at making some amazing plays.
Nope, absolutely not. This entire experiment is tainted. This is not how Madden should be played. You should be ashamed.
This isn't really a highlight. I just like how Hugh lays on the ground like he's dead. This is the Carson Wentz experience. If you don't like this, then you don't like Commander football. Absolutely no pressure whatsoever, and then he runs right into a sack. There's nothing special here. I just want everyone to appreciate the clusterfuck that is this play. First off, a QB with 99 speed and acceleration running like he has a stick up his ass. He then runs completely sideways and tries to bust out a spin move. Best of all, it doesn't even matter because there's a holding call on the play. Who was being held? The one person on the defense that got blocked? They round out this drive with a god-awful throw on 3rd and 17. I'm starting to feel like this is not going to go the way I hoped. Not to be outdone by our pathetic offense though, Carson Wentz is proving that even the worst defense in the league is too much for him. Ladies and gentlemen, we are witnessing a quarterback duel for the ages. Huge O'Daddy attempts to scramble out of the pocket, gets stuck on his own running back, and then runs into a sack. Truly outstanding. He then mocks us on the very next play by proving that he is fully capable of scrambling like a sane human being. I'm going to need everyone to contain themselves. You're about to see 2 successful offensive plays in a row. Hold on to your butts. Just like that, right back on schedule. Wow, they went for it on 4th down and actually picked it up. So I guess running straight for the sidelines sometimes works? We'll just ignore that it would have been 10 times easier to simply run straight up the field. Hugh's the type of man that would rather run an extra 15 yards just to have the same result. That's true dedication. Does Madden think this is funny? Why does this keep working? Unfortunately, the drive stalls with our old friend, the god-awful pass on 3rd down. Despite all this, the Jaguars have somehow taken the lead for the 2nd time this game. The Washington offense gets rolling, and this is more or less what I expected to see. I thought there would be more explosive plays, but I expected them to be able to move the ball at will. The Jaguars start to go deep in the playbook and stack 2 defenders right on top of each other for some reason. This confuses the Commanders and they only gain 2 yards. Uh-oh, here comes the Carson Wentz we know and love. A wide receiver is wide open across the middle. Carson decides he's tired and wants to go hang out on the sidelines for a little bit. It's like Madden is determined for this to be a competitive game. I feel like I'm beating a dead horse here, but good God. Watching the AI inexplicably choose to run into the defense is maddening, especially on 3rd down. I think that Hugh actually has a pain kick and just loves to get hit. That's my only explanation. Conversely, watch Carson Wentz scramble on this play. Why is he so much better when his ratings are worse? I can't make this shit up. Somehow, Some way, the Jaguars are going to go into half leading this game. Also, the receiver does my favorite thing I've seen the AI do so far. The ball is coming towards him, so he decides to get even farther away from it. This game is a masterpiece. You may not like it, but this is what a peak 2-minute offense looks like. They took over with 51 seconds on the clock. They then punted the ball with 37 seconds on the clock after gaining only 8 yards. These stats prove how insane this game is. The Jaguars lead because they've managed to get 3 turnovers. Their offense is so pathetic that they've only managed to score 6 points anyway. This matchup is setting the game of football back 100 years. The Commanders must have realized at halftime that they are far and away the better team here. They march down the field with ease and cap it off with a Carson Wentz touchdown run. I hate to say it, but 4 points might be an insurmountable lead for Hugh and the Jaguars. So, this is where I get really confused about ratings. If he's the absolute best player in Madden, why does the AI make throws like this? Also, he has 99 tackling and yet the cornerback breaks the tackle. Cool. Carson Wentz immediately spits in my face and scrambles for another touchdown. I hate this game. Ladies and gentlemen, we have life. Out of nowhere, Hugh Daddy delivers easily the best play we've seen all day. They then go for 2 to make it a 3-point game. The running back gets scared of the end zone, runs away from it, and then he gets tackled short. Madden 23 is the most realistic football game yet. The Commanders once again drive down the field and are 5 yards away from putting this game out of reach. The defense, who continues to surprise me, puts together a miraculous goal line stand to get the ball back to the offense. Well, they didn't really stop them on 4th down. Carson Wentz missed a receiver that didn't have a defender within 5 yards of him, but hey, we'll take it. Unfortunately, if you're the Jaguars offense, 99 yards might as well be 99,000. They pick up a 1st down, but then immediately give this absolute chef's kiss of a play. It's like watching a toddler play this game. Then, out of nowhere, Hugh Daddy rips off a 38-yard run like it's no problem. What the fuck is this game? He picks up a 3rd and 7 with a beautiful 26-yard pass. It's important to remember that we can't have anything nice. Hugh throws one of the worst interceptions I've ever seen, and I'm starting to think that player ratings don't even matter. Carson Wentz completes a 6-yard pass to Logan Thomas, and a sickly boy from the Jaguars tries to come onto the field and fight him. The Commanders score again, and that should be the final nail in the coffin for this game and my hopes for this season. Here's a theory. The AI gets better as the game goes on. That's my only explanation for why Hugh scrambles and breaks tackles like he should have been doing all game. I can't believe what I'm watching. Hugh runs a perfect read option and then barrels into the end zone. This is now a 5-point game. In theory, the Jaguars could still win this game despite playing terribly 90% of the time. I've never been so invested watching 2 CPUs play each other. The worst defense in the entire league forces a 3 and out to get the ball back to the offense. Are we about to witness a 4th quarter comeback? Nope. Let this be a lesson. Never believe in anything ever. The defense again holds strong, and then, for no reason whatsoever, the Commanders throw the ball on 3rd down. Vintage Carson Wentz. He misses a wide open receiver and they'll have to kick a field goal. If they run the ball, the Jaguars get it back with maybe 5-10 seconds left. Holy shit, they missed the field goal. The Jaguars could win this if they score a touchdown. I finally understand why parents get so invested in youth sports. This is like watching my son. Lead them to victory, my sweet baby boy. Arguably the worst pass you could have completed in this situation, I feel like the writing is on the wall. They burn about 20 seconds off the clock but manage to pick up a 1st down and get out of bounds. That means it's Hail Mary time. This would go down as the greatest victory of my life if they could pull this off. They don't. I'll say this, out of all the games of football I've watched, that was certainly one of them. I'm frustrated to say the least. Not with Hugh, he's still my sweet baby boy. I'm frustrated with the AI and the rating system. It feels like the ratings don't mean anything unless you're actually controlling the player. Even with that theory, it still doesn't explain the stark differences in QB play that we saw. Carson Wentz ran for less yards, but he was arguably the better runner that game. I feel like if a semi-competent player was in control, the game would have been massively different. Oh, and then this happened. The only positive is that we can potentially see the difference between simulating a game and watching it play out. Wow, it was somehow even worse. Alright, here's what we're gonna do. I'm gonna simulate the rest of the season week by week and we'll see how this disaster unfolds. As we can see, there's a bit of a trend as they manage to lose the first 2 games by the exact same score. They then regress even more as they get absolutely pounded by the Chargers. But then something miraculous happens. The worst team in Madden manages to beat the undefeated Eagles. They don't stop there. They go on to beat the Texans as well. Did they stop there? Absolutely not. The Colts were no match for the team of destiny. Surely they can't win 4 games in a row. Well, dear viewer, that's where you're wrong, because they did win 4 games in a row, and Hugh finally played up to his potential. He even managed to win Player of the Week. They grow up so fast. Unfortunately, this 4-game stretch was the only bright spot of the season. Madden simply wanted to give us a false sense of hope before mercilessly crushing our dreams. The Jaguars get destroyed by the Broncos, and this is a sign of things to come. The next 3 games, they only managed to put up 14 points. Weirdly enough, their closest game was against the Chiefs. Luckily, they have a bye week, which means that there's no possible way they can lose. Even with 2 weeks to prepare, the Ravens make easy work of our sad team. The rest of the season plays out pretty much the same way. The offense scores an okay amount of points, but the defense gets taken to the woodshed almost every game. The season ends with a 4-game run where the Jaguars are outscored 192-73. In some ways, this is what I expected. With a better defense, this team could have won a few more games. When I say this defense was bad, I mean it was bad. They managed to play 17 games and not get a single sack. They also gave up 36.1 points a game, which would be the worst mark in NFL history. They weren't the only part of this team that was underperforming. If we look at our quarterback's numbers, they leave a lot to be desired. In fact, I'm having trouble making sense of them. A QB with 99s across the board somehow threw 16 interceptions and his longest rushing play was 13 yards? If I've learned anything in this video, it's that the Madden AI cannot be trusted. For future videos, I will never leave it in the hands of the AI again. I am curious as to how long it will take them to win a Super Bowl. I'm gonna let the CPU handle everything and turn the salary cap off. Let's see when Hugh finally wins the first championship. Normally, one would be thrilled to get to 7 wins after a 4-win season. However, it's hard to feel satisfied with that when you look at this division. Hugh and the Jaguars couldn't even win this division. The best part is that at one point the record was 7-5, almost assuredly a lock for the playoffs. The wheels completely fell off and they lost 5 games in a row to close out the season. I think this might take a lot longer than we expected. Or maybe not? They get into the playoffs the very next year and Hugh seems to finally be hitting his stride. A 4-to-1 touchdown to interception ratio and 18 rushing touchdowns earns him his first MVP award. Unfortunately, the Kansas City Chiefs don't like feel-good stories as they absolutely smoke the upstart Jags. At least things seem to be looking up. What did I say? The record was a little worse than the previous year, but you can't be upset about another playoff run. Hugh had a slightly worse season than 2023, but he did set a new career rushing long of 27 yards, and I think that should count for something. They go on to win their first 2 playoff games before getting their asses kicked by those damn Chiefs. And then, for some reason, in 2026 they once again forget how to play football. They finished the season with a winning record, but it's safe to say that our fictional fans would be pretty underwhelmed. It's hard to put the blame on Hugh. His numbers are still pretty good even if they did regress a little bit. Who knows? Maybe a season like this is just the type of thing for them to kick it into top gear. I have never been so proud. The best record in the NFL, the best passing numbers of Hugh's entire career thus far. Our quarterback was a one-man army, piling up 4,600 yards of total offense, 37 total touchdowns, and only 4 turnovers. He also completed passes at a 73% clip. Why am I telling you all this? Because I really want to hammer home how ridiculous it is that someone else won MVP. In fact, Hugh finished 5th in voting. I am irrationally mad about this made-up story. Ah well, I think Hugh will be fine with how everything played out. Besides, a Super Bowl win is way more important for your legacy than an MVP. Everyone, my sweet baby boy needs our help. Every comment, like, and subscription is equal to 1 thought and or prayer. So smash that like button, subscribe to the channel, leave a comment down below. He needs our help.